Sorry, this is your host Ram, coming to you on your cricket show. I know it would have taken you by surprise, but yes, definitely it is a surprise. I was not planning to do the show, and suddenly I find that I'm a bit early, and I thought I'd be doing the show. Happy to see some audience propping up. Hello, welcome audience to this cricket show, Cricket Happenings with your host Ram once again. Happy to see at least someone there in the audience. So today on this Cricket Happening show is Australia versus India, the final test match, the decider at the Gabba in Brisbane, where we saw that this Indian team was completely hit by injuries. They had a spate of injuries, but one has to say, with even two debutants on the first day's play between India and Australia, where Australians were placed at 275 at close of play on the first day of the final test at the Gabba in Brisbane. And Gabba in Brisbane is something which has always been a happy hunting ground for the Aussies, as we all know. And definitely, the Indians are definitely crippled. And it looked like probably it was like a tour game which was played where the Indians were totally not at full strength at all, not even at quarter strength, probably at quarter strength, one could say. And they were taking on the very, very strong Aussies. Well, as far as yesterday's, and also the other thing that I'll be looking at, we'll also have a look at the England versus Sri Lanka as to how things have panned out from the 2 days. But England are definitely in the box seat right now. They already have 185 runs lead. Joe Root, who has been really struggling in the year 2020, has started off with a bang in the year 2021, going to his 18th century and looking good for a double century, batting on 168. And Dan Lawrence, what a debut for Dan Lawrence in his batting. And he made 73, won his maiden test 50 on his test debut itself. That really says a lot how confidently he played, which I'll be talking about. So these are the two things we are going to see. The India and also the Pakistan team had a lot of big names being scratched off the list after their poor showing against New Zealand, which I'll be talking about in a bit as well. But first, let's get into the Australia versus India match. So definitely the Australians were definitely at a marked advantage with this Indian team suffering a lot of injuries. But what a start for India. Mohammad Siraj in the very first over made David Warner feel for a ball, and he felt for it, and Rohit Sharma taking a brilliant catch in the gully, and it was Mohammad Siraj was the one who took the wicket, and Mohammad Siraj was the one who was spearheading the Indian bowling attack. Can you believe it? There's no Jasprit Bumrah, there's no Umesh Yadav, there is no Mohammad Shami, and the Indians, if you look at the Indian bowling, it's an inexperienced bowler who's only 3 tests old, spearheading the Indian bowling attack. So David Warner was out for one. So that was first blood for India, but for India. And after that, Marcus Harris was really trapped, one could say, and it was Shardul Thakur with his very first delivery in his second test match. He struck by getting Marcus Harris to actually go and flick a delivery off his legs. But it was, I thought the field placements were very good. And if you had heard in the commentary box that the Indians are definitely doing their homework, they know what are the strengths of the batsman, what are the weaknesses of the batsman, and that's what precisely they have worked on. And Marcus Harris was a victim in front of square when he flicked it, and Thakur was absolutely ecstatic. And why not? In the very first delivery that he bowled, he picked up his maiden test wicket in the form of Marcus Harris. So that was wicket number 2, and the Aussies were in trouble for a change at this time with the score reading 17 for 2 as Stephen Smith and Manus Labuschagne were at the crease. Stephen Smith, well, he was playing superbly. They definitely retrieved the situation to a large extent from putting on a 70 runs partnership, but took on the score to 87. Well, Stephen Smith He was batting very well. He was nicely stroking the ball, and he was looking pretty good. But before Washington Sundar, who had bowled three maidens on the trot, he was also making his debut. T. Natarajan, I'll be talking about that. But Washington Sundar was making his debut, and Washington Sundar is not a big turner of the ball, but he bowls very tight lines. And Stephen Smith, this was after the lunchtime that Stephen Smith was taking a strike to Washington Sundar. And what a tap that India laid for Stephen Smith. It was really good to see. It was an innocuous delivery, one could say. And Smith tried to flick the delivery, but flicked it straight into the hands of I think it was the fielder at short mid wicket was Sharma, Rohit Sharma. Once again into the picture, it went straight into the hands of the bucket hands of Rohit Sharma, and that was the end of Stephen Smith. And Stephen Smith was absolutely disconsolate when one saw him walking back to the pavilion. And why not? He definitely thought that he could have stayed there for a much longer time, but it was not to be. Got Sharma bowled Washington Sundar 36 with 5 brace. That was 3 wickets for 87, and the Indians were definitely in there, and the Aussies were the ones who were put under pressure. Matthew Wade joined. Definitely, he would be breathing free that there was no Ashwin, who has been his nemesis so far on this tour. But Matthew Wade took his time at the crease. At the other end, Manas Labuschagne, who already was forging a good partnership with Stephen Smith before Stephen Smith fell, was also doing a good job. Manas Labuschagne was also looking very good. And as you know, Manas Labuschagne has been living a very charmed life in this series. He has been always dropped on the pull shots. He has been dropped a lot of times by the Indian fielders. But here, once again, he was dropped today as well. And this time, the culprit was the Indian captain, Ajinkya Rahane. And Manas Labuschagne went on and on in the company of Matthew Wade. And now another partnership started after Stephen Smith left the field. And this was a much bigger one than this, as a partnership added 103 runs to the good, with Matthew Wade definitely surviving some anxious moments. But definitely, as I said, there was no quality spinner like Ravichandran Ashwin to worry him. And he went on. But Natarajan came back, and he was the one who struck with the second new ball. Now, Natarajan bowled well. I mean, even though he was also making his debut, and well, he does not have much of pace, but definitely we saw that he was trying to make a sort of an impression. He was planting the ball into the batsman. He was getting the ball to swing in as well. We could see some swing also when Natarajan was bowling, and Natarajan finally got his reward as he forced Matthew Wade into a pull shot. And Matthew Wade is someone who definitely had been resisting the pull for quite a long time, but here he could not when the second new ball came. And he pulled it, and he only managed to put it into the air, and it was Prithvi Shaw. It was Thakur actually took the catch, because there was probably going to be a collision between the catch, and that was the end of the bloke Matthew Wade, out for 45. So, but definitely, when I was enjoying this chirping that was going on behind the sticks by Rishabh Pant, as you know, Rishabh Pant, the wicketkeeper, and whenever he and Matthew Wade come face to face, it's really interesting because Matthew Wade always says that Rishabh Pant is always laughing. So I really love the contest that's going on. It's a friendly banter, one could say, but nevertheless worth watching that. And I really love watching Pant behind sticks, needling Matthew Wade, and Matthew getting a bit perturbed as well. So it really makes for some really interesting viewing, one could say. At the other end, Labuschagne, he was going in his own way and he was doing well. But before the second new ball, once again, Natarajan struck. And that was first his maiden test wicket in the form of Matthew Wade. And then he picked up the wicket of Manas Labuschagne. And as you know, Manas Labuschagne, as I said, has been living a charmed life on the pull shot. He has been, I mean, the Indians have been laying the trap, but unfortunately, he has not been trapped in that. But today he was. A short delivery from Natarajan and the top edge when he goes for the pull shot. And I thought Pant did a good job to jog over the catch, which was really twirling in the air. He took the catch. He was gone, but not before Manas Labuschagne has made his first century of the series, 108 with 9-4. This was something which eluded him, but here he got it. And as I said, he had a good partnership with Matthew Wade as well. And finally, things were the spread when Labuschagne was gone was 213 for 5. And after that, it was Cameron Green and the captain Tim Payne taking them to a relative safety, one could say, as they closed at 274 for 5 on the first day of the first test match, of the final test match against India at the Gabba in Brisbane. Cameron Green was not out on 28, was pretty quiet. Tim Payne, 38, he had 5 boundaries in that. And as I said, Indians should be very, very proud of this. So many injuries with batsmen, bowlers, all missing. But what a performance from India. 274 for 5. Definitely, I think credit should go to India for putting up a good show in the center. And looking at the bowling figures, Siraj was bowling very well. Siraj definitely improving a lot. I mean, he has already proved himself, but what I mean to say is that Siraj is definitely turning out to be a sort of a very, very important bowler for India now. 19 overs, 8 maidens, 51 runs and 1 wicket for Mohammad Siraj. Natarajan on his debut, 20 overs, 2 maidens, 63 runs and 2 wickets. Shardul Thakur also bowled well, 18 overs, 5 maidens, 1 for 67. Navdeep Saini, unfortunately, another injury there. Navdeep Saini was the luckless bowler. Marcus Labuschagne was dropped by Ajinkya Rahane in the slips, and the very next delivery, Saini had to trot off back to the pavilion. The reason being that he had a groin strain, and now one does not know what is the situation. He bowled 7.5 overs, 2 minutes, run for 21. That is another blow for India. But India continues to remain very, very resilient, and that is something which talks about India's character as far as cricket is concerned. Washington Sundar on his debut, can't expect much from him. 22 overs, 4 minutes, 63 runs, but he got his the prize wicket of Stephen Smith. Rohit Sharma had to complete the formalities for Navdeep Saini. He bowled a solitary delivery which went for 1 run. So 274 for 5. The pitch definitely, as they normally talk about it, that the Gabba pitch in Brisbane is basically the final session is the time when probably things could get evened out. But other than that, the pitch definitely has something in it for the bowlers for sure. So we are India. So for India, as far as today is concerned, probably when I'm talking to you now, probably in 2.5 hours time, we'll have the second day's play starting at the Gabba in Brisbane between India and Australia. And the new ball is fairly new. It's only 7 overs old. So definitely the new factor would be there. And I think India should capitalize. They should knock off either this pair of Cameron Green and Tim Payne, and so that India can probably get into the lower order pretty quickly. And that could help because the ball is new. So that could be something if India could do. They could make some rapid inroads into the Australian batting, and they could probably get them out. So, as I said, it all depends on how they bowl with the new ball. They have to bowl very efficiently with the new ball to knock off any of either Cameron Green or Tim Payne from the pedestal right now. So that is what one is waiting for. But the Australians, on the other hand, would be hoping that this partnership goes on, and then the other batsmen to follow suit and start making good runs, and their score looks healthy. So it's a nice battle out there in the morning session today with the ball fairly new. Looking at Sri Lanka versus England, just talking about that game. I mean, Gaul is somewhere, as I already said in my preview, in my cricket Reddit, if you had looked at it, I had definitely said that Gaul pitch is something where it has been raining. The spinners would probably have a field day. It was Dom Bess was the man who had a real field day as he picked up his career best bowling figures against the Sri Lankans when the Sri Lankans were skittled out for 135. And I never thought that the bowling was so sharp on the first day, but definitely there were a lot of dismissals that the Sri Lankans would be really guilty about. A lot of silly dismissals that happened. And if you look at the card there, 135 all out on the first day, and the highest scorer was none other than it was Dinesh Chandimal, 28, and Angelo Matthews contributing 27, and Dasan Shanaka making 23, Hasaranga De Silva making 19. But the Sri Lankans had absolutely no answer. As I said, there were a lot of indiscretions from the Sri Lankan batsmen. So one could probably only say that Sri Lanka are themselves to blame for what transpired. So they bowled out 135, Broad had 3 for 20, and Dom Bess, the right arm offie, 10.1 overs, 3 minutes, 30 runs and 5 wickets. and as I said, career best figures in test matches for Dom Best. But as I said, the ball was definitely turning. There's no doubt about it. But probably the Sri Lankans could have played much better cricket than one would have than what they played on that particular day. Jack Leach 1 for 55. England in the first innings, as the close play on the second day, England were already on to a. I mean, they were proceeding towards a massive lead as they are already leading by 185 runs. The openers Crawley and Sibley were gone pretty quickly on the first day, as you remember. But after that, Bannister made 47. But Joe Root, what a knock from him! He was unconquered on 168, looking good for a double century. As you know, Joe Root has been in some poor form in the year 2020. He has really struggled. But here, the captain is leading from the front here, and as I said, he has already made a statement in the very first in the very first test itself, and he's not out on 168, which contains 12 fours. His handling of spin was very good, going deep into the crease, smothering the spin, also playing the sweep shot, using the sweep shot to good effect. But let's talk about Dan Lawrence, who was making his debut, and he joined his captain in breaking a lot of records. First, he himself on his maiden got his maiden test 50 on his test debut, and what an innings from Dan Lawrence, this youngster, 21 years old. He made 6 fours and 1 6. He came at a time when I wouldn't say things were looking really good for England. They were 131 for 3 at the stage. Yes, definitely comparing to Sri Lanka's score, I thought the situation was good, but still Dan Lawrence took his time, played the spinners well. He swatted Mbuldini, a successful spinner, for a 6, and he held his pose as he actually hit that 6. That was an exquisite shot from Dan Lawrence. It definitely shows that this bloke has a lot of match temperament. He was getting behind the line of the ball. He was, as I said, he was playing the drives well down the ground. He was sweeping the ball, and he was someone who was looking pretty good at the crease, no doubt about it. And Dan Lawrence, I think, has a lot of good things to come for him in the future, and definitely this is going to give him immense confidence going forward in this series. As 73 to, not only making a debut and getting his maiden test 50, but going on to make 73 and giving tremendous company to Joe Root. As from 131 for 3, they were the ones who were instrumental in the Sri Lankans going to a total of 320 for 4 at close of play. As I said, they broke a record over there. It was a record, I think it was, I have a feeling it was some 160 runs odd that they added for the 4th wicket. Probably it is highest between England and Sri Lanka in my reckoning. But Joe Root still there, survived the day, not out 168 with 12 boundaries. Lawrence, again, tremendous knock from Lawrence on his test debut, take a bow. Jose Bartler was not out on 7, and England closed the day at 320 for 4, 185 runs ahead. And as I said, England will be making sure that on this pitch, I'm sure the pitch is really going to crack a great deal. And it's only in the fitness of things that England don't allow anything to chance. They still have a good batting lineup still to follow. They have some good all-rounders, Sam Curran, Stuart Broad, Dom Best, Jack Leach. Everyone can bat. If they can really pile it on and probably get a 250 runs lead, they can probably think that they could go and roll out the Sri Lankans. They could save themselves from batting last on this particular pitch. And that is what the primary aim would be in my mind. Looking at the bowling, Lasith Mbuldini bowled superbly. His spin, 38 overs, 4 minutes, 131 runs and 3 wickets for him. As you know, they only went with one seamer in this, Asita Fernando. He was wicketless, none for 21. Hasranga de Silva, none for 63. Dilruwan Pereira, the offie, 1 for 82. Shanaka, none for 16. So that's the match situation at the Galle International Stadium on the second day of the match between England and Sri Lanka. The other cricket news that I would like to talk about, the Pakistan actually selecting their team for South Africa. As you know, Pakistan had a very tough time in New Zealand, and let's have a look at the changes that the Pakistan team has made. Also, Mohammad Wasim has come as the chief of the selectors for Pakistan, and let's have a look at what's happened. Shan Masood, the opener, Mohammad Abbas, the swing bowler, and Haris Sohail, another talented batsman, I thought. all the three have been axed by the Pakistan team for the tests against South Africa. And they have brought in some new names. Harris Rauf, who did well in New Zealand, as you know, he has been playing in the Big Bash League as well. So he gets his opportunity. Harris Rauf and the Imran Butt, Kamran Gulam, they are all batsmen. Salman Ali Aga, they have all been, they have brought a few players into the fold. So looking at Hassan Ali, who has been doing well in the Pakistani domestic trophy, Qaid Azam trophy. In fact, he went one better. He not only he showed his great all-round prowess, as in the finals he went on to hit a century as well, a very quick century at that, the 26-year-old bowler. And as you know, he's a good bowler as well. So that is all going to strengthen them. There's no doubt about it. And we are looking at a very good Pakistan team. But as I said, they have definitely gone for the, basically been very strong in what they wanted to do. So it's going to be interesting. The South Africans will be there in Pakistan. So that series is also going to start. South Africa versus Pakistan in Pakistan. And as I said, the Pakistan public have been starved of cricket for quite a long time. And I know it is very tough times and troubled times in the world. But definitely, they will definitely get a glimpse of their heroes in action. Well, dear fans and subscribers, it was a pleasure bringing you the cricket show. As I said, it was something which was suddenly decided. As I came in early, I could definitely go and put up this cricket show pretty quickly. I'm happy that you all enjoyed it and look forward company once again. Maybe, yes, tomorrow, yes, it's coming to the weekend. So yes, definitely I'll be there to talk to you on the third day's play between England and Sri Lanka, and also on the second day's play between India and Australia at the Gabba. Well, as I'm talking to you right now, probably 2 hours from now, we'll have India and Australia starting the operations on the second day at the Gabba pitch in Brisbane. Well, this being said, it's time for me to really sign off on this cricket show, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow on my next cricket show. Until then, it's goodbye from my studios. Thank you.